Don't you wish that you could flip a switch or turn a dial and turn your creativity up? I know I do on those days when I'm not feeling very motivated. But here's the problem. We've been conditioned to believe, kind of brainwashed actually, that some people have creativity, some people don't. Or we can turn it off and on. And we're going to talk about today why that is not true.
You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world.
Welcome to the Julia Monte channel. For just meeting, I am Julia Monte. I'm a women's fiction author, and I'm also here on Fridays to give you some writing tips, things that I've learned along the way. Okay, so let's talk today about creativity, because this is something that I think a lot of people, even writers, believe that it's something you can switch on, switch off, or that some people are creative and some people are not creative, or that our creativity leaves us right when we sit down to write our story, right? It sure feels that way sometimes. Like, I have no creativity today. I just can't write my book. But let's talk about why that really is not true. One of the reasons is that we believe that being creative means making something, right? Like, don't we think that? Like, okay, I'm going to be creative. I'm going to write a book. That means that I'm creative. Or I'm gonna paint something, or I'm going to be this photographer. I'm making something because I'm a creative person. And that's really not what creativity is. It's not making a product that makes you creative. In fact, you are creative all the time, whether you are creating a product or whether you are not creating a product. Okay, our first error in thinking is that creativity is something that we can turn off and on, and that or that it goes away. Now, it may feel that way sometimes, right? There may be a point where you feel like my creativity just doesn't feel as heightened, or just feels like it's not there. And that could be because of various things. You might be going through something. You might be stressed. You might be worried about financial issues. You might be, there might be other things that are pulling at your energy. So it's not really the creativity that's gone, it's more that your energy is lowered. It could also be that you've refused to use your creativity for so long, maybe because you're afraid, or you want to write a book, but you're afraid that you can't do it, or it's going to take too much time, or that people won't like it, or you won't be able to sell it, that you're wasting your time, all the things that we tend to feel sometimes when we want to create something that maybe that other people are going to see, and then we're feeling that it's, all those fears that come up. So it could be that, right? It could be the fear that is limiting your creativity, and you haven't used it for so long that you don't remember how to be creative. But the second problem is that we forget that we are really all creative spirits, okay? Isn't it silly to think that only like a small percentage of people are creative? So it's just these artistic people that are creative. It's just these people that make music. But the rest of us, we're not creative at all. Isn't that silly? I mean, we all have creativity inside us. We are all capable of being creative. And in fact, it's our natural inclination to be more creative and to create things. So it's always there. It doesn't go away. It's just that sometimes we're not using it, or sometimes we're just not in touch with the creativity. We're not letting it flow the way we should. I don't care if you're a writer, if you're a firefighter, if you are a plumber, if you are a teacher, whatever. You have your own way of expressing creativity. In fact, I'm going to suggest that creativity, the way that a writer expresses or uses their creativity is that expression, right? We express our creativity by writing a book. But a plumber may express his creativity or her creativity by fixing something, right? Fixing a toilet, fixing so whatever plumbers do, so something works. And how cool is that, right? They're using their creative energy and spirit to make something or to fix something. And make it work better. And sometimes they come up with creative solutions, right? It's not always like, oh, I'm just going to replace this one thing with this. Sometimes they need to think things through and creatively fix things. So all of us have creativity. We just express it in different ways. What we really need to do is to practice, just like anything, right? So I might be able to lift weights. I used to do that a little bit more, well, a lot more than I do now. But the reason I stopped is I hurt my back. And so I don't, I don't do it anymore because I don't want to hurt myself. But just recently I tried okay, I'm going to just use those machines and do the arms, I don't want to get flabby arms. And it's like, oh man, my muscles are still there. They haven't gone away, just like your creativity doesn't go away, but I haven't practiced. So I need to start with some very, very low weights and just work myself up and remind my muscles of what they can do, right? That they're there, they need to be used. This is what you're supposed to do. And the same thing goes with your creativity, is you want to practice being creative. And you do all the time. I'm just going to explain to you how we're going to strengthen those muscles and how you're really using your creativity all the time. Anyways, just being aware that you're doing it kind of gives you the confidence to keep being creative and to bring that creativity into your writing, if that is why you're here. And I'm assuming that if you're watching me, it's because you want to write, you like to write. You'd like to create some kind of, a novel or a poem or a story or an essay or a memoir, whatever, right? You want to write, and that's why you're here. And so you want to bring that creativity to your writing. My first suggestion is to do exactly that. So I want you to go through your day. So let's say tomorrow morning when you wake up, I want you to think about what you are doing. So for example, let's say you're going to work. You're going to get into your car. First thing you do, I want you to notice what your car looks like, because I am sure that from the choice of the vehicle that you are driving, right? If you have a car, I understand like a lot of people are in, taking subways or other things, but let's say that you have a car. That's just an example. Okay, your day may start differently. But the choice of your car, you chose a certain color for a reason. It could have been like, I remember one time I asked a friend, he picked a car and it was a white car, and it was like I could just not picture him in a white car. It's like, I pictured like a fiery red or something. And he says, oh yeah, you can picture me in that car, in that white car, because that was the cheapest car on the lot. Now that could be, right? So maybe there was no creativity in choosing the color, but a lot of times we do, right? We want a certain color because it represents something that we like. It represents us and our personality. But even if you didn't choose the color, I'm sure that your car is decorated, or whatever you want to call it. It has a certain scent that represents you. That's creativity right at the beginning, right? So we get in the car, we notice that, oh, well, I have this scent in my car that I like, or I like to keep a certain pillow there, or I have a little trash can. I had a friend who I had that in her van all the time, especially when her child was young, and she had a little trash can there. I had that too when my kids were young. Or you might have a little TV for them to watch or something. So you've decorated this, you've used your creativity to decorate. So as you start your day, notice that. Maybe the plants as you walk into your yard. Have you decorated have you landscaped your yard a certain way with certain plants that you like? Maybe you don't like flowers. Maybe you have fruit trees because that's what you like. But we use our creativity all the time to express ourselves and to represent something that we enjoy, that we like, that we value. So our creativity is being used all the time. We just don't think of it that way. We don't think of like, oh yeah, I'm making this meal and I'm being creative. Yes, you are being creative because you're creating your meal. Or I have my car a certain way, I have my house a certain way, I have my bookcase a certain way. Why? Because I'm using my creativity to express myself and decorate something a certain way. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is, as you move through your day tomorrow, is I want you to notice all the places where you have put in your creative energy. And this is again to remind you that you are using your creativity all the time. So to think that it's gone or that you don't have any is complete BS, because you do, of course, and you use it all the time. Okay, the second thing that I would like you to do is to give yourself a break. Okay, so when you sit down to write, let's say every day, you're not going to be writing brilliant words. It's just not the way it happens. I wish it was like that. I wish that every time I sat down to write my novel, it would just be another brilliant day with the best words just kind of flowing out of me and through my fingers onto that computer screen. But the truth is that that's not the way it works, right? So sometimes we sit down and for some reason we're just at the right scene or something, and when we write, it is brilliant. It is, well, at least it's good. The words are perfect. The dialogue came out right. My description is just the way I wanted it to be. And then there are days when it's a little bit more of a struggle. Well, why? Again, it's not that creativity is gone. It's just that for some reason, that it's not, it's not flowing the way that I want to. Maybe I had a rough night. Maybe, my mind is somewhere else today. Maybe I've had some kind of, my dog wasn't feeling well or something, whatever. And I had to deal with that. And a little bit of my energy kind of is gone. It went into that and I need to rebuild it, right? So I can do other things. I can do another little creative thing. I can listen to some music. I can try to get back into into that flow of writing. But I'm going to give myself a break. If it's not working too well, I might want to just shut it down. Maybe I'll go mow my lawn. I won't do that. Maybe some of you might go mow your lawn and make it, nice little rows the way people do. I think that's creative. Sometimes I walk by and I'm like, wow, that's really cool the way somebody actually mowed their lawn and made little circles or made nice straight lines. Or you might do whatever is you feel helps to build your creative energy again. So sometimes we need to do that. We just need to step back a little bit, or just, be okay with not writing the very best that day and knowing that you're going to come back to it anyways. You're going to rewrite it. It's not there forever. You can fix it. You can throw it out, but you want to keep practicing. You want to keep doing it. So don't be hard on yourself if one day you feel like, all that creative energy has just been zapped and you've got nothing. Okay. That we have good days. We have bad days. So be nice to yourself, and maybe try to rebuild that creativity. Listen to some music, light a candle, do whatever makes you relax and makes you want to express yourself. Okay, so the next thing I want you to do is just turn your brain off. Because what happens with our brain, I'm talking a lot about flow, right? Letting your energy flow, letting your creative juices and energy flow. Well, what am I talking about here? So what does that mean? Well, what it means is that you're not overthinking. And a lot of times what we have to do is we have to turn our mind off. It's like not, I talk a lot about, you've probably seen some of my videos about plotting and being well organized and all of that. And I want you to do that because that helps you to build your story. Okay. But also, what can happen is we can get too stuck on that, right? This is what's supposed to happen next. This is what happened, this is what I wrote on my outline and I can't feel that. And it's like, okay, well then don't write that, right? So just because you wrote an outline, just because you have a plan, doesn't mean you have to follow that plan and be strict and limit yourself. Your intuition, your creativity may be saying, you know what? I don't really want it to go that way right now. I want to try this. Well, go ahead and do it. Try it a different way. It might be better, when you're first planning something, you're not really sure how the story's going to go. It could be that, you thought your character was going to go in one direction. And then when you start writing and you start living with your characters and you start seeing the plot develop, that you realize, I think this story would be much better if this happened or we did this. Well, allow yourself that flexibility. Turn your brain off a little bit and go with your soul, okay? Go with your intuition, go with your heart. Writing, a lot of writing is just emotion. It's not just in your brain. It's not just in your mind. It's in your heart. It's in your soul. So allow that to come through. Allow that energy to go through. And that way you will be writing, it will flow better. You will feel like writing more because you're allowing your creativity to express itself. You're allowing your creativity to come through rather than just saying, nope, this is what I'm supposed to be doing today. Okay, so don't force it. turn your brain off a little bit and allow yourself and allow just your whatever you want to write to come through. And that's what flow is. It's just letting it flow out of you and letting your kind of your heart express itself more than what your mind is telling itself to do. Because your mind will play tricks on you. Your mind will tell you that it sounds dumb. Your mind will tell you that, oh, you don't want anybody to read that, because that's, it's trying to protect you, and it's trying to be logical. Writing isn't always logical, and yes, hopefully a lot of people will read what you wrote, and hopefully it will help them. Hopefully they'll be entertained. Hopefully they'll enjoy it. Hopefully, if you're writing like a memoir, it will help them by reading what you wrote and then being able to learn from you, right? And then not make the mistakes you made, or understand how to feel better, whatever it is that you're writing. Okay, so turn that brain off and let your heart write, okay, what it wants to. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is to believe in the impossible. Okay, what do I mean about that? Okay, fiction is not real, right? Well, I wish it was real sometimes, because sometimes it's better than real life, but it's not real. So creative people allow themselves to believe in the impossible and the things that aren't true. And they believe that plants can talk. They believe that aliens can exist and come here. Maybe they do, right? We don't know. We believe that love can last forever and through multiple lifetimes and all of that, right? If I'm a romance writer, which I am, I have been, that's one thing I have to believe. I have to believe that love is true and that love is forever. And some people that believe that your soul will be in love forever, and it will die, and then it will come back, and you'll find that person again because you're meant to be with that person forever. Is that true? Who knows? But we have to believe that if we're writing. So we have to believe in that impossible. And if we allow ourselves to not judge that, like, oh, that's really dumb, who would believe that, we will be able to create much better stories, because we're going with that. We're like, okay, like, what's that movie that's going to be coming out again? I'm trying to blank right now. Avatar. Okay, so I loved Avatar when it first came out, and I'm really excited about the second one. Now, what if the writers there had said, well, it's ridiculous to think of these aliens that, are blue, I think they were, right? That can talk to each other through their mind. And it's, how ridiculous is that? Well, then we wouldn't have a great movie. So you have to believe in the crazy stuff, and you have to write the crazy stuff down. One of the things that really annoys me is when I'm watching TV with my husband, and like a character will do something that seems illogical to me. And I'm like, why? Why did that person do that? Why, and my husband will say, well, because it's a TV show. It's like, well, I know it's a TV show, but why is that character doing that? You have to be in that plot. Like, it has to make sense, like, why that character is doing that. For example, like, let's say, there's a detective and he gets shot like 5 times and he still manages to get up and kill the bad guy. And it's like, what? He just got shot 5 times. Come on. You get shot 1 time and you're not getting up again. And then, that's when he'll say, well, it's a TV show, It's like, but so in a way, though, what I want to say is that he's right, because we, as the audience and the reader, have to go with it. Now, it can't be so, if it's based on reality, if it is based on a real detective, I mean, not a real detective, but I mean, it's just, in real life, like that. It's not a fantasy. It's not Avatar. It's just a detective, right, that is in Los Angeles, and that's his job. There has to be some reality to that. Like, you really can't get shot 10 times. It's not Terminator and get up. But we have to give them a little leeway. Like, as the viewer, I have to say, okay, I'm going to believe in the impossible. I'm going to believe that this superhero detective, right, was able to get shot, but he wanted to get the bad guy so bad that he pulled himself out of all the pain, and his arm barely working and his leg, and he still shot the bad guy and got it, right? So I have to, as the reader, as the viewer, I have to go with that, right? Because the writer is believing in the impossible. He's believing that the heart of this detective is so strong in justice and in getting the bad guy that he's going to be this sort of almost supernatural energy, strength in order to get the bad guy. So we want to do that as writers, right? We want to make sure that we are believing that anything is possible so that we can write something great and that we can get the reader maybe to believe in something that is outside of the normal, life where things are sometimes impossible. But at least in fiction, nothing is impossible. And the next mistake that writers make sometimes, and what I want you to work on, if you feel this way, is that people think they have to be talented to write, right? So don't confuse talent with creativity. Okay, so you have the creativity to create a story, to write a story. Do you have the talent to write the story? That's something different. And some people are naturally talented. They'll just sit down and they'll be able to write an amazing story, right? Some people have to work on it, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it. Because you are creative, you can create a story. And then you can work on the skill and the craft of writing. Because so when we say, like, somebody is naturally talented, it's like, okay, the words flow, but they're also able to create this amazing story. Maybe they have a super amazing vocabulary, and that comes through in their writing. Maybe they just have this natural storytelling skill. So there are people that are talented in different areas, right? So some people may be more talented in writing than others, but that doesn't mean that you can't write an amazing story too. You might have to work at it a little bit more. You might have to use your creativity and then learn some of the craft, learn some of, like, how do I plot? How do I develop my characters? How do I do all that stuff? That's okay. So don't worry about talent. Worry about, using your creativity, writing that story. Don't judge it. Let the impossible happen. Then you can go back and say, okay, now I need to structure this better. Now I need to develop these characters a little more. I need to add more description. I need to work on my dialogue, whatever it is to improve the story. If it doesn't come naturally to you, it's not a natural talent for you, it's okay. You can work on that after you write your story, right? So you want to get that rough draft down first. One of the things that I loved is when my kids were young, I took them to art class. We actually drove all the way, like 60 miles, out to this art teacher that would help them to learn how to draw, because I wanted them to be, to do a lot of things and to be able to be creative in different areas. So, we did all kinds of stuff. We did art, we did sports, we did piano, we did so many things so that they could find their thing. And what this art teacher said once is my son was frustrated about the way he was drawing. They were all drawing a tiger, and she gave them the example, of what it looked like and how to do it, how the lines and all that stuff, and which ones were the thin lines, and just all the things that they were doing. And he was frustrated because he's like, oh, I did it wrong. And she said, no, there is no wrong in art. It's just your tiger is going to look different from other people's tigers, and that's okay. That's art. And it's the same thing with writing. It's not, there's no wrong and there's no right. It's just, some people are more naturally talented when they're artists, some people are not. I like to cook and make meals for my family, and I try different things. I'm not an award-winning chef. It's not a natural talent, but I still enjoy doing it. So enjoy the writing. Don't worry about that natural talent. Use your creativity. And honestly, it depends on what you want, but nobody really has to read it if you don't want to. It's just an expression of you. And if you like to write, you like to express yourself through writing, then why not do that, right? So don't worry about talent. Just worry about practicing your creativity. Which really brings me to my last point, is that I want you to enjoy being creative. I don't know at what point in modern time we decided that we have to be good at something in order to do it. So that's not true, right? So you can be creative and not be good at what you're doing if you're enjoying it. So if you're going to write, I want you to enjoy it. A lot of times what happens to writers, especially if you start to become successful, is you you write, when you first start, you're writing because you love to write and you just can't wait to sit down and be with your characters. And as time goes on, what happens is that, you are successful. Let's say you sell your novel, then your editor is expecting a new novel from you. And it's like, okay, well, I need to get this done now, and I have to get it done by the deadline, and I have to make sure it's good, and it has to be as good as my last novel, and I have to be able to keep the readers, and I have to do some promotion, and I have all of a sudden it becomes this very stressful job instead of this joy of writing and expressing your creativity. And that's kind of sad. Like, you don't want that to happen. You don't want to lose that, because the whole point, the whole reason that you want to write to begin with is because you enjoy doing it. So I want you to keep that. I want you to enjoy writing. I want you to find the, what you like. Don't worry about being good. Don't worry about the talent part of it. Just write the story that you think you want to tell, and just do that. Just be creative and enjoy being creative. Enjoy writing. So I hope that this has helped you, and it's helped you think a little bit differently about creativity. That not just a few special people have it, but we are all creative. It's something we're born with. It's something that just comes out of us naturally, whether we want it to or not. That's why I go through that one day noticing all the ways that you've been creative, because you just can't help yourself. You are creative. All right. Have a great week. I will see you again next Friday. Remember to subscribe so that you get the message when the video goes live. Also, make sure that you're hitting the like button and sharing this with your friends. If everybody just shares it with 1 or 2 friends, it will help my channel grow a little bit. It's growing pretty slowly. I've been doing a lot of videos, so that would help me a lot. If you could do that, I'd appreciate it. Okay, I will see you again next Friday.